The professional speculator, the man who has survived long enough to learn the market's true and often paradoxical language, operates on the exact opposite principle. He understands that the great fortunes are not made by buying low and selling high, but by buying high and selling higher still. He is not a bargain hunter, he is a connoisseur of strength. This is an analysis of that profound and counterintuitive philosophy. It is a clinical dissection of the Jesse Livermore method for turning a small, initial, correct judgment into a great and life-altering fortune. It is the science of reinforcing success, of adding to a winning position, a concept that is completely alien to the amateur mind. This strategy is not a single action, but a complete scientific process, a campaign that requires a specific set of tactics for both offense and defense. It is the method by which a speculator learns to ride the great primary swings of the market, the big swings, where the real money is always made. The principles that form this method were not born of theory, but were forged in the heat of a lifetime of market operations, paid for with millions of dollars in both profits and losses. They are the timeless laws of the game. The full weight and power of this philosophy, a guide to the mind of a master, was brilliantly chronicled by Edwin Lefebvre. A link to his essential work, Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, now with a unique, detailed chapter-by-chapter analysis from Max Davidson, is left in the description below this video. This new analysis is specially designed to make the timeless wisdom of the book powerfully relevant to the modern reader. Let us now begin the dissection of the first great principle of this strategy, the one that the amateur finds most difficult to comprehend: the wisdom of buying on a new high. The novice trader looks at a stock that has just broken out into new high ground, a stock that is being quoted at the highest price in its history, and he is repelled by it. His every instinct, trained by a lifetime of bargain hunting, screams at him, "It is too high. Only a fool would buy at the very top." He sees the new high not as an opportunity, but as a danger. He is afraid of chasing the price. He prefers instead to look for the sluggish, low-priced stocks, the laggards that have not yet moved, believing them to be safer and to have more potential. This is a fundamental and catastrophic error in judgment. The master speculator sees the new high in a completely different light. He does not see it as the top. He sees it as the beginning. It is the single most bullish and most reliable signal that the tape can give. Why is this so? A stock that is making a new high is a stock that is in a position of demonstrated and unassailable strength. It has, by its own action, proven that the buying pressure is greater than the selling pressure. It has absorbed all the old overhead supply of stock and has emerged into clear, open air. The new high is the market's own declaration that the line of least resistance for that stock is now decisively upward. It is the sound of the starting gun for the next and often most powerful leg of its advance. It is the very definition of a pivotal point. The speculator who buys at this moment is not chasing the price. He is joining a powerful and proven momentum. He is not gambling on a hope. He is investing his capital on the basis of the market's own clear and unmistakable evidence. He is aligning himself with the dominant force. The so-called cheap stock, the one that the amateur finds so attractive, is cheap for a very good reason. It is cheap because the selling pressure is greater than the buying demand. Its line of least resistance is downwards. To buy such a stock is to bet against the tide, an act of speculative folly. The professional, therefore, has learned to conquer his natural human instinct to buy cheap. He has retrained his mind to see a new high not as a danger but as a confirmation. He has learned to buy strength, not weakness. This brings us to the second great principle, the practical application of this philosophy. How does a speculator act upon this signal without exposing himself to undue risk? The answer lies in the methodical and scientific way he builds his position. The amateur, when he finally decides to act, often does so with his entire line of capital at once. He makes his one great bet. The professional never does this. He understands that even the most promising of signals can prove to be a false one. His first duty is to his capital. Therefore, he never enters a trade with his full intended position. His campaign begins not with a full-scale assault, but with a small exploratory probe. This is the art of the initial test position. At the precise moment that a leading stock in a leading group breaks through its pivotal point into new high ground on a surge of volume, the disciplined speculator will make his first purchase. This purchase will be for only a fraction of his total intended line, perhaps a fifth or a quarter. This initial probe is a scientific test. It is a question that he is asking the tape. My analysis indicates that the great move is beginning now. Is my analysis correct? He has placed a small, calculated bet on his own judgment, and now he waits, with the patience of a scientist, for the market to give him its answer. The market's answer must be immediate and clear. The proof that his judgment was correct comes in one form and one form only: a profit. The stock, having been bought at the moment of its breakout, must continue to advance. It must show him a profit almost at once. This immediate profit is not just a small financial gain. It is the market's own confirmation that the breakout was genuine, that the trend is real, and that the line of least resistance is truly in the direction of his trade. It is the market's validation of his entire analysis. If, however, the stock falters after the breakout, if it hesitates and then falls back below his purchase price, the market's verdict is equally clear and immediate. The verdict is that his judgment was wrong. The breakout was a false move, a trap. In this case, the professional speculator does not wait. He does not hope. He does not give the stock a second chance. He accepts the tape's verdict without argument and sells his probe position at once, taking a small, manageable, and pre-calculated loss. This is the very essence of his risk management. His initial bet was deliberately small, so that this inevitable and necessary loss would be of no real consequence to his overall capital. He has paid a small price to learn that his judgment was, at that moment, incorrect. The entire process removes the emotional and ego-driven guesswork from the game. The decision to build a larger position is not made by the speculator. It is made for him by the market's own unambiguous action. Only after the market has confirmed his judgment with a profit on his initial probe does the speculator begin the second stage of his campaign. He has now established a beachhead with minimal risk, and his original capital is protected by the cushion of his paper profit. He is now, in a very real sense, speculating with the market's own money. This is the moment he begins to turn his small initial win into a truly great one. This is the art of adding to a winning position, the science of pyramiding. He will now add the second portion of his intended line. And here we come again to a principle that is anathema to the amateur. This second purchase must be made at a price that is higher than the first. He is buying on a scale up. The amateur, if he were to add to a position, would wait for a dip, hoping to get a cheaper average price. The professional knows that a dip may be the first sign of a change in trend. He buys strength, not weakness. A rising price is the very proof he demands that the trend remains powerful and intact. And so he adds his second lot as the stock continues its advance. His total position is now larger, but his risk is still being masterfully controlled. His average price for the entire line is still well below the current market, protected by a handsome profit. This process is then repeated. If the stock continues to act right, if the trend remains strong, he will add his third and fourth portions, always at a higher price, always on strength. He is methodically and scientifically building his line, his commitment growing only as the market's own validation grows. He is not an impulsive gambler, throwing his entire fortune on a single bet. He is a cautious and scientific general, committing his reserves to the battle only after his initial assault has proven successful and the enemy is in retreat. This is the great and only secret to turning a small initial win into a great fortune. It is not done by a single brilliant and reckless bet. It is done through the patient, disciplined, and methodical process of reinforcing a proven success. This strategy requires a form of courage that the amateur does not possess. It is the courage to buy more of a stock as its price rises, to have faith in the proven trend, and to resist the fearful, primal instinct to snatch a small profit. It is the understanding that the great life-altering money is made not in the first few points of a move, but in the great, quiet, and sustained middle of a major trend. The pyramid is the tool that allows a speculator to fully capitalize on this middle section. This, then, is the first great half of the Livermore method for transforming a small win into a big one. It is the offensive strategy. It is the science of the entry and of the accumulation of a great line of stock. It is a philosophy that is in perfect and direct opposition to the natural instincts of the amateur. The amateur buys weakness, hoping it will turn into strength. The professional buys strength after it has already been proven, and he follows that strength until the evidence tells him that the move is over. He does not try to be a hero, catching the bottom eighth of a point. He is content to enter the move after it has clearly declared its direction. He is not trying to get the cheapest price. He is trying to get the right price at the right time. This entire offensive campaign, however, would be impossibly risky without an equally brilliant and disciplined defensive strategy to protect the profits that are being accumulated. The art of building a great position must be accompanied by the science of protecting it. The second half of this complete method involves the masterly use of the stop-loss, not just as a tool for cutting an initial loss, but as a dynamic and intelligent tool for protecting a growing profit. This is the science of the progressive stop. This is a key point where the semi-sucker, the man with a little knowledge, often fails. He may have the courage to build a pyramid, but he does not have the discipline to protect it. He allows a normal correction to turn into a catastrophic loss of his entire paper profit. The true professional knows that a paper profit is a dangerous and ephemeral thing. It is not real money until it has been converted to cash in his account. His final duty, therefore, is to ensure that a great winning position does not, through carelessness or hope, turn into a losing one. This requires a system, a formula for selling that is as clear and as unemotional as his formula for buying. It is in the union of these two, the offensive art of the pyramid and the defensive science of the progressive stop, that the complete method is found. To have assembled a large and profitable line of stock by correctly pyramiding a successful trade is to have won the offensive half of the speculative battle. It is a great and difficult achievement, but it is only half. The second, and often more psychologically demanding, half of the campaign is the defensive one. It is the science of protecting the paper fortune that the market has bestowed upon you. A paper profit is a fleeting, ephemeral, and dangerous thing. It is a promise from the market, not a payment. It is not real money until it has been safely converted into cold, hard cash in one's account. The amateur, mesmerized by the size of his potential gain, often forgets this. The professional never does. He understands that the market can take back in a few days what it has given over a period of many months. His final and most critical duty, therefore, is to have a definite, scientific, and inviolable plan for the protection of his accumulated profits. This is the art of the progressive stop-loss. The great fear of the amateur, the one that prevents him from letting his profits run, is the terror of a sudden and sharp reaction. He asks himself, what if I build this great position only to have a pullback wipe out all of my gains? It is a legitimate and intelligent question. The amateur answers this question with the coward's solution. He snatches his profit too early. The master speculator, Livermore, answered it with a simple, methodical, and brilliant piece of technical strategy. He used the structure of his own pyramid as the blueprint for his defensive line. His method was this. After his initial probe, bought at, for example, $50, had shown a profit and he had made his second purchase at $55, his first act was not one of offense, but of defense. He would immediately place a stop-loss order for his entire position at his initial entry price of $50. Consider the profound and beautiful logic of this move. He is now, with his first two lots, in a position of almost zero risk. If the stock has a sudden sharp reversal and is stopped out at 50, what is the result? The first lot of stock is sold at break-even, a scratch. The second lot is sold for a small calculated 5-point loss. He has tested a major move. He has been proven initially right. He has attempted to build a large line. And the total cost of the experiment, if it fails at this stage, is a small and entirely manageable loss on only the second portion of his stock. His original capital is, for all practical purposes, completely intact. Now let us assume the trend continues. The stock moves to $60, and he makes his third purchase. His pyramid is now larger. What is his next move? It is again a defensive one. He will now move the stop loss for his entire 3-lot position up to his last purchase price of $55. The dynamic has shifted again. If he is now stopped out, the first lot, bought at 50, is sold for a 5-point profit. The second lot, bought at 55, is a scratch. And the third lot, bought at 60, is sold for a 5-point loss. The entire large position is closed out with a net result of 0, save for the commissions. This is the science of protecting a growing line. The speculator is systematically locking in the gains on his earlier purchases, while only ever risking the paper profits of his most recent ones. The trade itself is financing its own protection. The market's money is being used to ensure the position. This method requires a cold and mechanical discipline. The stop loss is not a mental note. It is a hard physical order placed with the broker. It is not to be questioned, and it is never under any circumstances to be moved down in a moment of hope. It is the unemotional mathematical governor on the entire operation. Now we must contrast this scientific defensive strategy with the chaotic and emotional actions of the average trader to understand why most people lose. The amateur has no such system. He buys his stock, perhaps even correctly, at the beginning of a move. But he has no plan for building his line and no plan for protecting it. He will add to his position haphazardly. He will buy more not at a logical higher pivotal point, but on a whim, on a feeling, on the greedy and unprofessional thought that it seems like it will still go higher. His buying is emotional, not scientific, and he has no defensive plan at all. He does not use a progressive stop. He watches with a growing sense of anxiety as his beautiful paper profit is eaten away by a normal market reaction. He does not sell because he is paralyzed by the hope that it will bounce back to its high. He has no rule for when to exit. His only guide is the fickle and unreliable emotion of hope. He is a general who has led his army deep into enemy territory with no plan for a strategic retreat. When the counterattack comes, he is inevitably surrounded and annihilated. Even worse than this passivity is the most destructive of all his potential actions. The amateur, lacking a stop-loss, will often not just hold on through a severe reaction. He will see the declining price as a bargain and will actually add to his position as it falls. He will begin to average down his winning trade, a catastrophic inversion of all sound principles. He is no longer a speculator. He is a man at war with the facts. He is pouring his good money and the last of his paper profits into a position that the tape is now telling him is a losing one. This is how a great winning position is transformed, through a lack of discipline, into a devastating loss. The majority of men do not lose money in the market because the market is impossibly difficult. They lose money because they lack a clear, definite, and proven set of rules. They are an undisciplined mob, and the market is a disciplined and professional army. The outcome of such a conflict is never in doubt. This brings us, then, to the final distilled lessons of the Livermore method for turning a small win into a big one. It is a complete philosophy, a union of a bold offensive strategy with a cautious and scientific defensive strategy. The first great lesson is this: do not be afraid to buy strength. The market grows not because a stock is cheap, but because there is a powerful and aggressive demand for it. A new high is not a sign of danger. It is the ultimate sign of a healthy, powerful, and authentic trend. The amateur seeks the bargain, the professional seeks the strength. The second great lesson is this: build your position in stages. Never commit your entire capital at once. The market must earn your confidence. Test the waters with a small initial probe. Only when the market has proven your judgment correct with a profit should you add to your line. Reinforce success, never failure. The third great lesson is this: always protect your capital and your profits with a definite mechanical stop. A profitable trade without a progressive stop-loss is an open and foolish invitation to ruin. It is a job half finished. The speculator must be as disciplined in his defense as he is brilliant in his attack. And the fourth and all-encompassing lesson is this: discipline is everything. The method is perfect. It has been tested and proven. But it is a tool. And like any tool, it is useless in the hands of a man who lacks the discipline to use it correctly and consistently. The market is a ruthless punisher of the man who seeks exceptions to the rules. If these lessons could be condensed into a single operational command, it would be this: first, identify and buy proven strength at a clear pivotal point. Second, add to this winning position on a scale up as the trend confirms itself. And third, protect the entire growing position with a progressive stop-loss placed under the level of the previous purchase. This is the scientific formula. This is the method by which a small, correct, and low-risk initial judgment is systematically and safely transformed into a great trend-following fortune. The risk is controlled by a definite rule at every single step of the campaign. This is the true meaning of speculation. It is not gambling. It is not guesswork. It is a serious, intellectual, and professional business, governed by laws as real and as dependable as the laws of engineering or of medicine. The man who masters this complete two-sided strategy, the offensive art of the pyramid and the defensive science of the progressive stop, has mastered the very essence of the great game. He has learned how to be aggressive when the market is rewarding him, and how to be instantly and ruthlessly defensive when the market proves him wrong. He is in perfect harmony with the rhythm of the tape. He has, in the final analysis, conquered not the market, but himself. He has achieved a victory over the powerful, primitive, and eternally costly human emotions of greed, fear, and hope. He has replaced them with the cool, calm, and profitable logic of a definite scientific plan. This is the final and greatest victory of a master speculator.